hopping from one episode to the other without joining the dots and getting the larger picture about what is happening in this country. This is a country that, split from the larger Sudan on the basis of, greater freedom from a country that was not able to make the union with the north attractive. And therefore, they come to the south. And even at that time, there were already splits in the south. And everybody knew that unless something is done, South Sudan is not going to hold together because of that history. So this is a country that is trapped in two transitions. Transition number one is that not being able to move from a liberation movement to a governing party, or movement. And that's why Salva Kiir basically is behaving like a liberation of man. The ideology is still that one of liberation, not of a governing ruler who is accountable to people. The second trap is that of democratic transition, and that's now what we are beginning to address. That Sudan does not only need to be able to govern, but it needs to move to democratic governance, where you have a sense of accountability to the subjects of that country. So with those two trappings of trapped transitions in South Sudan, we have a crisis. How do we get out of this crisis? The neighbors have no consensus about it. South Africa has already appointed its own special envoy to South Sudan. Paul Mashatile is there now. Ethiopia is now, before it even heals from its own wounds, it's hopping its way to South Sudan to mediate the crisis. Yeah.
I want to just raise that particular question there because I find it a bit funny. Yeah, but anyway, these were bilateral talks, so those are things
they are not just bilateral talks, but they are coming at a time when Sudan is basically festering. So it's not, as he says that. IGAD has its own special envoy, Ismail Wise. Kenya has its own special envoy. Everybody has an envoy to South Sudan, and we have ambassadors in those countries, from the same countries. So South Sudan must be busy, and it is a busy area. So there does not seem to be now a concerted effort to get Sudan onto its rails, and if so, not what kind of change are you looking at in South Sudan? Are you just look at Uganda has its troops in that country. So without Ugandan troops, I'm not sure Salva Kiir would have lasted the long he has lasted. So he's resting on the back of Ugandan troops in that country. And Uganda is doing that because it does not want Sudan to gain the upper hand in this country, because it believes that Sudan is the one that has been funding the LRA. So that's another area. So what is the point here? The point is that IGAD, as soon as it gets its act together, because IGAD also needs some helping, it has to kind of get a common idea around which the region is going to rally to get South Sudan transiting to something. Otherwise, currently, I don't even see why you need an envoy or why you need something. From what? The peace agreement was done. Now I think it is in its 10th version. I don't know what version it is now. They talk of new. They have used all the prefixes to define that peace agreement and the new versions and so on. South Sudan is a mess. Salva Kiir has not only overstayed the invitation to the presidency, but he is actually messing up in that particular place. That's very clear, and you need to say that. It's not about the time he has been there. It's about what he's doing there or not doing there. And we need to call a spade, because if we don't, then we're going to better mess. Museveni has overstayed Uganda, but it's not as messy as what you find in South Sudan. Let's face it. Kagame might be overstaying in Rwanda, as people say that time and all, but Kagame is doing a good job even after staying. So you can justify. But how are we going to justify South Sudan and this thing? So we need a serious and comprehensive African response to South Sudan. And the AU this time need to step in, somehow.
Well, the